Hello, it's Lilith, and welcome to Sketchbook Story Sunday. In today's video, we're going to be looking at how to sketch based on a photo. The photo I have here I found in my parents' house, and I love the blue-gray hues. Starting out with a box, I roughly estimated the size of the photograph. Because this sketch is a study, I want the drawing to be at a 1-to-1 scale relationship with the photograph. For the concentration of this study, I want the atmosphere of the colors as a whole to be cohesive. I'm using acrylic wash today, using titanium white, viridian green, burnt sienna, yellow ochre, mint green, and black. My professors always discouraged us from using black in painting, but I chose black because I knew it would mix a warm gray as opposed to a cool gray or a cool brown that I would get from mixing brown and dark green. Even though they are complementary and theoretically creates a true neutral, this green has a strong tinting strength and isn't ideal for making grays in the first place. I am keying the sketch with blue-green. This means every color I apply, whether for the sky or the road or the snow, the color will contain a tint of blue-green in some way. The term color key differs from monochromatic, which means various tints and shades of one hue. Here, we are using multiple hues throughout the piece, but the colors are unified by the blue-green. Because the composition is still fairly blank and white, I knew my first attempt of snow will be inaccurate, simply because my judgment will be skewed due to the white paper itself, whereas the reference photo contained very little real white. Color exists completely and solely in our minds, and therefore it's normal to mix up the perfect color on a palette and have it be completely wrong once it's put down. Keeping these things in mind, I work quickly throughout the piece and often pause to observe the photograph as a whole, instead of just focusing on the mountain or the road or the clouds. One great thing about art school is that I learned the rules in order to break them. There is no right or wrong way of working, but my method here is not academically correct, which is to paint the sky first because it's the background, then the big mountain as translucent darks, and then the snow as opaque lights. Today, I didn't feel like painting the sky first. I really wanted to play with my interpretation of the mountain. Since I wasn't going for anything realistic, I wanted my drawing to be a drawing. It's not pretending to be anything else. And the drawing contains my hand and my marks. Even if my color is not perfect, as long as the value relationships are correct, the drawing is still successful. I started to add on different tints of blue-green to give the mountain more definition. Another thing I wanted to experiment with today is dry brush, in which I load paint with very little water mixed in to create an inconsistent flow. I thought the dry brush effect can emulate snow dusted on the mountain crests and valleys. Again, the road here, I knew I wouldn't land it on a first try. I kind of finessed with it more than I'd like, so it became quite thick. I did not achieve the icy feeling I wanted because of the opacity. Working around negative shape takes practice, and in this case I am dry brushing around the lights and viewing the white paper shape as snow. Even though this way of working is still considered positive, because I am not erasing or cutting away the medium, it can be a bit counterintuitive at first. But you will be surprised at how easy it becomes after just a little bit of practice. I squint my eyes slightly to look at the values of the photograph rather than one specific area. When I felt like I was about to overwork the whole thing, I stopped my paintbrush and moved to pencil. The marks of the mechanical pencil was too small, which made the paint marks look too loose. So I switched to a colored pencil, sticking to the blue-green color key. Because this is a winter landscape, I made sure the grass looked stiff and cold, keeping the lines short, staggering them on top of each other, and having them go in different directions. It's important to know when to deviate from the reference image. A photograph captures light from the physical world and contains that light on a silver plate. A drawing captures light from my mind, my thoughts, and my emotions. The image is altered, much like what memory does, and becomes unique to my experience. That's the magic of art. The texture of the color pencil suited the dried grass better than paint. And because I was more comfortable with pencil than paintbrush, I was able to mentally pause and evaluate the piece, observing how the paint becomes more atmospheric as the pencil details came into the foreground. I am varying my pressure with the pencil, and I reposition it in my hand often to keep the point sharp. Working with white color pencil is one of my favorite things. I burnish the white on top of the darks of the mountain, pressing down very hard and grinding the pigment into the crevices of the paper. I was satisfied with how it made the shadows look foggier and less flat. After that, I went back in with white paint to layer on snow. Since the road is more opaque than I intended, I wanted the snow to match in opacity and dimensionality. At one point, I thought I could go in with a middle gray to define the clouds, but decided that it was a bad idea because it was too distracting. So I pushed it back with more white colored pencil. Then I moved past working from the box I initially drew to address the rest of the page, to acknowledge that I left a lot of negative space around the sketch, but I didn't really feel like filling it up. Sometimes it's okay not to work the whole page of a sketchbook. If I view this page as an exercise to learn and improve, rather than a final product, I have a much better overall experience, and I will likely draw in the sketchbook more. Setting high expectations for how a sketchbook should look discourages me from drawing because I don't want to mess it up. That's why I also work in multiple sketchbooks so I don't get attached to one and think that it's precious, because that will slow down my improvement. And here is the final product. The white lines are very subtle, which I love. I hope you found this video helpful, and let me know if you want to see more landscapes like this one. I hope you have a wonderful day or night, and I will see you next Friday.